Chris. My topic is about a bill that was passed that banned the sale of shark fins. The sale of shark fins is used in Chinese like delicacy. It's very important to their culture, and I believe that the outlawing of the shark fin proposed in the new law is culturally discriminating and is economically harmful. My three supporting claims are: the specific banning of shark fins is targeting and discriminating the Chinese culture. Being unable to sell the shark fins in their restaurants has caused many restaurants to close because they cannot afford to keep them open. And that it is very economically harmful to California, if not all of the U.S., because they cannot bring in money to sell, or to bring in money and then use that money in the economy. My first claim, the specific banning of shark fins is targeting and discriminating the Chinese culture. Thomas Sowell is he's known for, he's won a Humanity Awards, and he's social theorist, political philosopher. The discrimination is when stated in the Civil Act of 1964 is when someone is not treated equally. The Chinese restaurant owners are, however, not treated fairly. This is a sign of discrimination to me, because if the consumption and use of sharks is still illegal, but the selling of shark fins is not, I believe that that is discrimination because they're still killing sharks for their meat. In an article wrote by Rosanna in the LA Times, she stated, "Save the U.S. and California, nobody can eat shark-related products. Yes, we are for it. But if you only target shark fins, where everyone else can utilize the other parts, then no, this is totally discrimination." She's stating that because they only outlaw shark fins, that is specifically targeting their restaurants and is causing them to not succeed and to be put down. The not being able to sell shark fins, my second point, is causing restaurants to close, Chinese restaurants. Shark fin soup is a very expensive meal. It generates a lot of money for their business. The exclusion of it causes harm. For example, Henry is a restaurant owner. It stated in the article of LA Times written by Rosanna that owner Henry is closing his roast meat restaurant, Chung Hung, at the end of the year. His establishment heavily relied on shark fin orders for special occasions such as weddings or Mother's Day. And because he relied so heavily on that, because he lost that revenue, he had to close down one of his restaurants. He also stated that the ban hurts business, and continued estimating that he'd lose about $200 per table if he did not have this at his banquets that he would put out and to make revenue for his business. And my third supporting claim is closing restaurants is economically harmful to the state of California, because of the recent downfall of the economy. Many restaurants have had to close because they're unable to meet demands of the stay open. As stated before, if you lose $200 per table, and let's say you have a wedding or you have 20 tables, that's $4,000 that they now lose in just that one wedding. Let's say they're throwing a banquet at their place and they have 150 tables and they completely fill up. All of that together, if it's $200 per table, he's losing 30 grand for that whole night. This is a significant loss in business and significantly less circulating money in the economy, and has detrimental effects on what he can do in his business. Restaurants also employ many people. These Chinese restaurants that had to close, had to give up their employees. It's stated that restaurant industry is the second to close other than healthcare when it comes to hiring, with healthcare has 14.3 million jobs and 13 million jobs in the restaurant industry. These employees that lost their jobs will now unemployed, have to look for a new job and have to be taking money from unemployment instead of helping the economy. And since there's less money in the economy, they are hurting it. So my point is that the selling of shark fins, or the banning of shark fins, or outlawing, is culturally discriminating because they're losing money and that it's part of their culture and economically harmful.
All right, the proposition has two parts to it, so you need to have a single claim, and then you kind of repeat those parts as the first and the second claims, and the third claim is basically an extension of the second one, so that's probably a little bit too much that you're doing at that point. I did think that you had good signposting in the body of the speech, so it was easy to follow. On the first point, the quote from Thomas Sowell needs to be much more clearly a quote. As you get into it, it starts like you're summarizing and paraphrasing. Now, if it is an actual quote, you have to be a little bit more authoritative as you present it, because it sounds like you're backing into the quote instead of actually using it forcefully to make your point. I don't know who Rosanna is, but I do know that apparently whatever they wrote is in the LA Times, so you probably want to just quote the LA Times. They may be a staff writer, for instance, and use the LA Times as the source citation. If you're not going to qualify Rosanna, there's not really much point in citing that source separately. I think that you're making an awful big inference based on the one restaurant that's being closed, and it is testimony from the owner of that restaurant that it's the shark fins that are the key difference there. I think that may be something that is true. I'm not saying that it's not true. However, that's the only example that you have on that particular point. And then you kind of rely on hypothetical examples based on something that person said, and I'm not sure how convincing that is. I did think that you did a nice job trying to show that the restaurant business was an important component of the economy, but I didn't see as much information that suggested how important the shark fins are to keeping Chinese restaurants open, and that's really where, that's the key link in the argument. And that's, when you're building a chain like that, that's the one that needs to have some good proof on it. All right, thank you very much. We're going to have to stop tonight.